Yo, what's going on, guys? JV here, and today I have some more Cleveland Browns football content for you. In today's video, we're going to talk about what it is we have learned about this Cleveland Browns team moving into this week's bye week. A bye week that I thought was really needed, and it kind of came at the right time, so I guess that is a plus. But the downside is there's no Browns football this week, and it's already driving me nuts, and it's only Monday today when I'm recording this video, so yeah, it's going to be a long 2 weeks. Also in this video, we're going to talk about some of the things we like about this Browns team and some of the things that we dislike and some of the things that we might want to change moving forward through the stretch run of this season and into potentially, maybe a playoff berth. All right, so what is it that we have learned about this Cleveland Browns football team? First thing that jumps off the page to me is coaching. To me, it feels like finally the Cleveland Browns, the GM, the front office has really nailed it as far as the coaching staff is concerned. And maybe I'll backpedal on coaching staff because I really don't want to give Joe Woods the benefit of the doubt yet, right? But at the same token, he was kind of dealt a bad hand with the defense he has this year. COVID and injuries playing a part as well. But I guess I'll just say more so Kevin Stefanski and what he has meant to this team and what I think he has meant to this team. And just kind of the identity that he has already instilled both on the field and off the field. I just think he has not yet gotten the credit that he deserves. And we can start with the team's discipline. It just seems like there's a lot less bonehead penalties, personal foul penalties that really hurt us as a team as opposed to the years past where we had Freddie Kitchens or Hugh Jackson. Also, this team has an identity on offense finally, right? It seems like this team, obviously Chubb needs to be on the field, and when he was early on, this was the case, that this team will really pound you, pound the rock on the ground, eat at you up front, and really then open up and develop a play action bootleg game and take its one-on-one targets to guys like Jarvis, Odell, who's, obviously dealing with his injury, the tight ends, the three tight ends that we do have, that identity of, zone run, running the football, pounding the rock with their 1-2, running back committee that they have, one of the best running back committees in football, if not the best. I say it's the best, but I don't want to just be that guy, be the homer, right? So I'll say one of the best, but that identity is it's rock solid. And again, I just think the offense is going to be great, especially when it develops more and more. Baker gets more acclimated to the offensive playbook, to the weapons around him, to the guys around him, just to the scheme. And then, in return, Stefanski get more acclimated with his guys and his quarterback. But once Chubb comes back, I really do think we're going to see how explosive this offense could be when it's clicking on all cylinders, because we do have a weaker part of the schedule coming up, and it looks like we're going to have Chubb come back against the Houston Texans, who we should eat against because they are just pathetic up front. And when we're able to run the ball as good as we think we can with that 1-2 combo, I just think that once everybody starts to get on the same page and the ball starts rolling and things get clicking, because remember, there was not a preseason. This is everybody's first go at it. This was everybody's first 8 weeks. The first 8 weeks in the season that just passed, that was everybody's first time kind of playing together in this scheme. I think when we come out of the bye and this team, gets more hungry and starts to develop more of a relationship together, I just think the sky is the limit offensively, coached and ran by Stefanski and company. So yes, what we have learned, one thing is Coach Kevin Stefanski seems to be the right guy, and I do want to give a shout out to the Browns organization and GM Andrew Berry, who hired him, because there's some guys in-house now who weren't here last year who were tooting the Stefanski horn, and I know we ended up going with Freddie Kitchens, but I'm just glad Stefanski gave this team a second chance and forgave them from passing him up on the first go around. And I'm glad he's here because I do think he's going to be a mainstay and around for, maybe even a decade. So let's stay on the offensive side of the ball here and talk about what else have we learned, about the offense. We have learned that Nick Chubb is definitely missed in this offense. I am guilty of this. I talked about how it won't be the biggest deal, or we might not need Chubb as much as we think, or maybe we'll be okay. The fact of the matter is this: Nick Chubb is severely missed in this offense, and I really do think if the Browns had Chubb last week against the Raiders, the Browns win the game. I was watching a lot of the film and I saw so many plays where Kareem Hunt had a nice hole, a big opening, and he'd get hit and he wouldn't go down after that initial contact, but he would stumble a little bit, keep going, pick up the extra 2 or 3 yards. Opposed to if we had a guy like Nick Chubb in there, and we have seen this so many times where he will either just avoid that initial contact, or B, bounce off that initial contact, not lose any speed or momentum, and just pick it up and outrun the linebacker tailing, or outrun, the safeties, the cornerback, the secondary. We miss the ability of Nick Chubb to hit that home run on running plays, to hit the home run on plays that are designed to hit home runs on. Like I said, Kareem Hunt is a great back, and I'm so glad we have him for the next 3 years. But we do miss Nick Chubb in this offense. We miss the ability for him to break off turn a 10 to 12, 13-yard run into a 50-yard run, a 50-plus yard run. I do think we would have saw at least one of those last week against Oakland, because there was a lot of opportunities for Kareem Hunt to really break one, and he came up just short. I've watched a lot of Nick Chubb, and I've watched a lot of Nick Chubb film. Those were runs that he did not miss on. I think we can agree when Nick Chubb had a chance to hit a home run, most times Nick Chubb had a chance to hit a home run. So yes, what else have we learned? We miss Nick Chubb. I cannot wait to bring him back and to have him as a centerpiece of this offense. Another thing that we have learned is that this offensive line will be good moving forward. I think our biggest weakness right now is that left tackle spot where Jedrick Wills is at. He has shown a couple times that he is going to make that rookie mistake, or make that mistake of judgment, that lapse of judgment, to get kind of fooled on a quick move on the left side. There is some work to be done with Jedrick Wills, we know that, but as a whole, with this group collected and healthy, because man, are we missing Wyatt Teller, this group and this offensive line is going to be good and a mainstay for years to come, and that has me excited. And we also have some depth, right? We got a guy like Nick Harris who showed that he could play the center spot as he was there, the first 1 or 2 games of the year. And you also have a guy like Wyatt Teller who stepped in this year and through the first 4 games of the season was graded as football's number 3 overall player. Not just offensive lineman, not just right guards. We're talking about a number 3 overall player according to Pro Football Focus, and I know he was graded as the number 1 offensive lineman before his injury. So, him coming back soon would be great. Hopefully, the sooner the better. We're expected to get him and Nick Chubb back at the same time, but again, this offensive line looks like it's going to be very good, and it's a good sign that if your biggest weakness might be the left tackle spot where the rookie's at, because usually, more times than not, right, the rookie's going to continue to excel, continue to get better, and to progress. And I think after the bye, we're going to see the best football that Jedrick Wills has, right? Again, there was no preseason. He really didn't have 100% live snaps against anybody in the NFL until week 1 of this year because of COVID and everything else. I just think the offensive line is going to continue to get better and better. They're going to gel together. The offensive line is great. So that's another thing that I wanted to point out. And then lastly, with the offense, I want to talk about Baker Mayfield and the wide receivers. To me, Baker Mayfield is still kind of up in the air. I don't want to fully commit to saying, yes, Baker Mayfield is the answer. He's the franchise quarterback, because I think it is too early to judge. And I hate everybody, everybody always says, well, there's no more excuses because he has an offensive line, or there's no more excuses because he has a decent head coach, or there's no more excuses because he has all the weapons he can ask for. But at the end of the day, he is still in a first-year offense with a new head coach, a new system, a new playbook. And let's not forget that this is the 4th head coach he has had and the 3rd scheme he has had in as many years. And I might not be doing that justice. I may be off a little bit. It might be worse than that. I'm having a lapse of judgment just because the hate that Baker gets is unbelievable to me, and I hate it, so I don't want to get too off topic with it. But if I would have told you the Cleveland Browns are going to be 5-3 at the bye week, going on to the weaker part of their schedule this year, there's not a person in here who is a Browns fan who wouldn't have been absolutely thrilled to be 5-3 at the bye week this year. If we would have talked about it preseason, I think all of us would have been thrilled. So I want to hang our hat with that on the offense. Yes, the jury is still out on Baker, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because we have seen him make every throw. We know he can make every throw, and I think this offense will really tailor to him as far as that run game, play action, playing outside the pocket, opening up the one-on-one targets with the run game. I think this offense is really going to suit him well, and I don't see why there's any reason why he can't be way better than Kirk Cousins was with Stefanski in Minnesota. So I think the jury's still out at with Baker. I don't want to get too involved with it. But yeah, I'll just say that the jury's still out, and we'll report back with the Baker talk at the end of the season. But with that being said, let's move over to the defense. What have we learned defensively? I know we just talked a lot about the offense, and I think a lot of us are pretty confident in what the offense can do. But let's move to the defensive side of the ball, and this is where things are a little bit more frustrating. Let's start out with one player. Let's just call it out. Andy, I think what were we calling him today? We were calling him Annie because he no longer gets a real name. He's Annie Sendejo because he is god awful. This team, defensively speaking, is being held down by Sendejo having to be the captain of that back end of the defense. I cannot explain this enough, and I wrote down how many times Sendejo either messed up, missed a tackle, was in the wrong place at the wrong time, whatever it may be. I jotted this down because I have a video coming out on it. Sendejo blew his assignment or blew an opportunity or made a mistake 14 times yesterday during the Oakland Raiders game. 14. I was furious. And let me say this, I forgot. It was 14 midway through the fourth quarter. So if he did anything from like 8 minutes on in the fourth quarter, I stopped keeping track because I was getting so upset about it. Sendejo is terrible. I thought Sendejo was a good pickup by this Browns team, but I still think he would be an asset in the box, playing strictly in the box with, Delpit and Harrison and Carl Joseph, guys playing behind him. But now that Sendejo's being asked to cover people and to be involved in coverage in the back end of the defense, he has been a nightmare. And I wouldn't lose an ounce of sleep if the Browns said they cut him tomorrow because he's been that bad. So what have we learned? We have learned this. 1, Sendejo is by far the worst player to put on a Browns uniform on defense ever. 2, Joe Woods definitely plays it safe. I talked about it yesterday in the Oakland game. And I don't know how I feel about Joe Woods yet because, again, to me, Joe Woods has kind of been dealt a bad hand. He's dealing with a lot of injuries and a lot of, spots on this defense. Has some gaps there because he didn't really have a say in it. Like, he didn't take over this defense thinking that these were going to be the linebackers that would be starting in the season, right? He didn't take over this defense thinking that Sendejo and Ronnie Harrison would be his starting safeties, come week 8. So yeah, he's been kind of dealt a bad hand. But in the opposite side, yesterday when I was watching that Oakland game, I just thought he was playing a little bit too conservative. And looking back at the film, I saw that Joe Woods has really played conservative on defense all year. Now, let me start by saying this. Maybe he needs to play conservative. Maybe he's being told to play conservative. Or maybe he's making the right decision by playing conservative because, again, the help over the top and behind him just maybe not be there. But yesterday when the Oakland Raiders in 50-mile-an-hour winds with bad weather conditions, moisture on the field, hail, sleet, when I watched Joe Woods yesterday just continue to let that running game pound us up the gut and him not stack the box or take chances or not make Derek Carr beat you in the air by making a good throw in poor conditions, he legitimately was okay with the Oakland Raiders pounding that football down their throats all game. Now I get come the late in the fourth quarter, yes, he tried to stack the box more and the Browns just didn't have it. A lot of that had to do with the fact that their defense was just winded and thin because of how they were being pounded the entire game. I just would like to see Joe Woods take a few more chances as far as blitzing is concerned, as far as getting after the quarterback is concerned. Now, I know he has Myles Garrett as a defensive end, so he may not have to blitz as much, but when things happen like they did yesterday where we knew what play they were running and where it was going, and I still didn't see that box stacked and I didn't see stunts moving to the middle of the field, I was frustrated. So what have we learned? Sendejo sucks, and Joe Woods might be just a little bit too conservative at times, but on the opposite end, maybe he has to because of what he's dealing with. In addition, I would also like to point out the fact that Myles Garrett is definitely one of the best players in all of football, not just defensive ends, not just defenders. He is one of the best players in all of football, and he is definitely a luxury to have at the defensive end position. But one thing I would like to point out, one thing that we have learned, right, is the fact that Myles Garrett should have somebody opposite side of him eating or having a career year just because of the point of emphasis that is on Myles Garrett at all times almost. I think this is something that's going to be addressed in the trade deadline here. There's a few names that pop to me real quickly. Kerrigan, J.J. Watt, Grady Jarrett. I'm sure there's more. Montez Sweat. I'm sure there are more names there I'm missing, but I do think opposite side of Myles Garrett. They are going to bring somebody in during this trade deadline, which is about 24 hours from now. I think we have depth at the defensive line. I just think we're dealing with a few injuries, right? It also hurts that we lost out on Billings, who opted out because of COVID, but you drafted a guy like Jordan Elliott. You brought in a guy like Kit Claiborne. There is depth there. And also, if you bring in somebody like J.J. Watt or, Grady Jarrett, you don't necessarily have to get rid of Vernon because the money still makes sense there. Again, they're $31 million under the cap. They can still add another premier defensive end and be okay with Vernon on the roster. All right, so next, I just want to talk about the defense as a whole. I think it goes without saying that this Browns defense definitely needs help moving forward, especially if it wants to make the postseason this year or even maybe win a game in the playoffs this year. Defensively, they need help. Luckily, I do believe some help is coming very, very soon with the trade deadline fastly approaching. I do think the Browns are going to be buyers, especially defensively, especially positions at safety, linebacker, D-end, D-tackle, maybe wide receiver. But yes, I do think they are going to be buyers. I do think you see one or two big name trades. I listed a few of them in my couple previous videos before this. I've had 2 trade videos previously before this video, so make sure you check those out. What we have learned, it is definitely the fact that this Browns defense needs help moving forward. It's kind of what is holding this team back from, I guess we can call it, that next step. Once they can get this defense figured out and this defense can be something that we can lean on, I do think the sky's the limit. But going without saying, the defense definitely needs help moving forward. Okay, so I want to end the video on a positive note, and that is this. What I have learned about this team, me personally, is that this team is just not the same. It is not the same team that we have seen in previous years, and I think a lot of you guys see it and know it and kind of feel the same way I do. Can't really put a finger on it, and I can't really digest what it is, but the team is just different. And I think it starts with head coaching. I feel so blessed to have a guy like Stefanski coaching this team, and I think a lot of us are taking it for granted how much he has really meant to this football team. A lot of people are forgetting this isn't far away from the same football team we had last year that was very frustrating to watch. And after, Stefanski kind of took over, it's been nothing but positivity for the most part. Not too much chirping around the national media for the negative reasons. This football team just seems to be on the right path and on the road to great things. And that starts from the top with coaching, and I just feel blessed. So what I have learned personally is that this team is different and that this team is, to me, on a trajectory up towards what we've all been waiting for 20 plus years. But yeah, man, that's really going to conclude the video. I had a lot of fun talking about this. This is just something more of like a rant video, like a how are we feeling video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit different than the norm. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button, the like button, subscribing to the channels, turning the notification bells on, I would appreciate any support you guys are willing to give. Again, I plan on making content full time. That is my dream. So that is something I am currently chasing. So if you wouldn't mind, showing the support or any support that you can, it would be appreciated. Also, I am a Twitch partner over at Twitch. I play sports video games live every day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if that is something you are interested in, you will see the link down below. Again, that's every Monday through Friday from about 10 to 4. We got a good group in there, a lot of Cleveland guys, and we really just talk sports, play sports, chit chat. If that's something you're interested, we would love to have you. But again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content, and yeah, go Browns.